welcome to another episode of Is That an Owl Bear, a D&D podcast. I am Cristina, one of your hosts.
And hi, I'm DM Joe, one of your other hosts of the two of us.
Of the two of us, it's just the two of us, and here we are. We've introduced ourselves. We decided, and we're hosting. We decided to shake it up a little bit today because why the heck not? It is our podcast, so we do what we want.
Okay, Trixie.
I'm sorry. How have you been? How's your week been?
I'm good. This is it's a good week for me. Actually, for the first time in I'm gonna go with 6-7 months. I took a week off D&D, DMing. I actually rested up, got my creative juices back flowing in my brains to be able to main and torture and emotionally hurt my players, specifically the last one. I actually just took a weekend off because I've been very busy and I needed to rest up. Not for what I said earlier, but that's gonna happen regardless. How are you?
I mean, it is important. Like, people choose not to think about it, but DMs really struggle. Like, us as players, we love to just come and sit down and have a great time, but you guys have to prep a lot, and that takes an emotional, mental, and physical toll. So good for you. Snaps to you for
mental
taking
health and all that. Yeah. No, it for sure. It is a lot of work, but it's great work, and it's always fun when you prep for like 2 hours and then your players go left rather than right, and all your prep work goes to the trash. It's that easy.
It's so nice.
It's the best feeling ever. Actually, it comes out like those sessions are always fun because the way you can improvise based on what you already worked, and not railroad, but improvise because you prepped certain areas, they went somewhere else. That improvisation is chef's kiss, honestly. It's really fun. But yeah, this week has been great for me. I'm ready. I paused this week in game time. It is in the middle of out of 4 parts, we're past part 1 and 2. This week's the pause of our finale of season 3 for my players. So they're full on in the middle of a cliffhanger, and they're like, why now? Couldn't you take a break later? And I'm like, no. This is when you'll really remember. You'll really be, the recap will be short and sweet when we come back.
Like, let's keep this moving.
Yes, let's pull out your heartstrings and then keep it moving.
Well, I am really excited for you and for the rest of the players, and I am looking forward to that because, I mean, who can you talk to that you won't be spoiling anything to?
You.
Exactly.
Correct.
Me. And I get to know what your players don't.
And sometimes I do bring it up here and I'm like, don't listen, and at no point have they ever told me that they've stopped listening. So
y'all are cheating. You've been warned. I've had a pretty good yet just exhausting week. I have been doing a lot of voiceover work past week, which is amazing. It is wonderful. It's, as a performer, as a fucking human being, as a person, we never cease learning, and it is important to brush off your already established skills, especially when you are collaborating with somebody else. And it's important. It's important to take the time to work on what you already know, because guess what? Everything changes all the freaking time.
Everything
all
changes.
All the time.
And it's like, if you ever get a point in your life where you're like, I don't need to learn anymore, I can guarantee that you're wrong. Correct. And that there is still value lessons to be learned from people in the same media as you, who do the same job, shorter, longer periods of time.
Like,
you're never good enough.
Never. Like, at the end of the, well, I mean, you are good enough.
You are good enough.
You are never done learning.
That's correct. That is the correct wording. Don't come for me.
Like at the end of the day, people always think, ooh, doctors always need to keep on updating their knowledge. Ma'am, or whomever said it, it's all of us. Like
All of
technology
us.
is on steroids and it has been on
Mhm.
steroids for the last few decades. So everything that was known before, it's obsolete now.
Yep, for sure.
If you do not keep up with the times, literally that, if you do not keep up with the times, you become obsolete as a performer,
Correct.
as a developer, as a content creator, as a player, as a gamer. Like you need to be up to date with what is going on in your field. And yeah, it's been a week of working and relearning a lot of things, which ended culminated in me working out today because apparently I'm at an age where, well, I've always been at an age where I should be working out. Always work out if you can. But
Drink
now
water.
it's doctor mandated. There.
um,
I
I
drank your water.
mean, there, yeah, well, I have water. I have some water.
Good for you.
Yeah. We're always at an age to work out, and so that's important. And drinking your water. And no, I think specifically what you were saying about learning.
Mhm.
I've mentioned it before here. I'm taking this time to really learn about like what other DMs are doing and bringing that to the table and all that. So I completely relate to what you're saying, and I'm actually thriving. I feel that I'm telling my best stories now
Good.
because it's just opening your mind to the knowledge that you don't have,
Mm-hmm.
rather than think that you know it all, is really like it's really beneficial, and people should really do that in every aspect. Just as you said, I completely agree.
Truly. Truly good. Good. We're on the
Completely
same,
agree.
you
Same
know.
page. We're both on the same page, and we're both learning, and we're both, doing our best to strive because we do that
There.
well.
To
And
thrive. To
as we
thrive.
thrive, we're going to talk a little bit about how some people aren't thriving during their D&D games.
Yes. So what are we doing today? Why don't you?
Today we're going to be talking about I've on occasion saved some RPG horror stories from the subreddit RPG horror stories
Oh,
that I found
wonderful.
funny. Yeah,
Whenever
and I
Reddit
went
is brought into the conversation, it's gonna be a grand old time.
always. It's thrilling. It's better than 4chan. So what I've saved a couple that I dug up. I have also
Mhm.
went through their top posts to just
Mm.
see some of the misadventures some players have had, or some DMs have had as well,
Okay.
when playing RPGs, Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm gonna go read a little bit of different situations, and then
Perfect.
we'll discuss. We'll say what we think about them, and I mean, some of them are shorter, some of them are
All right.
longer, and some of them I'll summarize to make sure that we're all
We don't
enjoying
go
it.
over.
Correct. Um, so I'm gonna start with this one. Let me see, let me pull it up here. Here, this one is it was posted by Mediocre Best on RPG Horror Stories, and he says he found this on Facebook and he's curious what other people think. And the post is, what are your thoughts on negative XP sessions? Our group tends to be a lot of non-combat encounters. We still do combat, unlike big fights, but we have just tended to have a lot of non-combat sessions lately. In one of the last ones, the party chose the absolute wrong decisions at every turn. In the end, they hindered the progress of the story. They disregarded allies, abandoned innocents, and overall just failed at the session. The players were not being problematic, and in fact, they were doing what they reasoned was right. At the end of the night, I gave them negative 750 XP. Nothing too terrible, just to hint, things story-wise went off the kilter. But now I wonder if it was unneeded and seems too punitive. So,
uh
what are your thoughts on that?
fuck that.
Fuck that! Like, what the
Fuck
fuck?
that. Like, what do you mean negative XP? I will say, every now and again, we all joke when we're playing with you. We all
Yes,
joke
it's a
about the
it's a
negative
joke.
XP. It's a fucking joke. You don't you don't take away XP from
Who
you don't take away XP from life.
No, you don't just get dumber because you had a bad session. Also, I'm sorry, but a session went off the rails. What are the rails? Like
What are the rails?
The players are that literally, if the session went off the rails, that means you're
It's the
railroading.
DM's fault.
Like it's nothing
Well, okay,
happened.
no,
It's
that's
not
true.
like
That's true. That's true.
like one of the big criticisms, like what players say they really hate is when a DM railroads the story, which is when they really push for
Yes,
it to happen regardless. So if
right.
it goes off the rails, you're railroading the story. Do you not see it?
That's true. That is very true. That is very true. Like,
Also, negative 750. Like, who the
that's
fuck?
so much.
If a dungeon master would have told me, like, ugh, I just like I don't think I
Still
would show up in
playing.
the next game. I would
I
be
would
like,
still
are you
playing. I'd be
serious?
like, if you take away XP from your table, from your players, that is traumatizing. Like, that's trauma. I'm
It's
sorry.
I've
It's abusive. It's abusive. Like,
the most I've done similar to this is as a joke, someone has made a really bad joke, and I just stare at them and I'm like, you lost a level. And they know I'm kidding, and everybody laughs.
uh-huh.
Like
Mhm.
it is nowhere intended to be serious. I've even had situations where like I have a new player who's never played D&D before, and sometimes he struggles like the game. And he said sometimes he's like, I'm not gonna take XP for this session. I'm like, don't do that. You still, even though you had moments that you for lack of a better word, hindered the session, you still had moments where you pushed forward. Why are you saying I am not gonna take XP? Like that doesn't help absolutely anyone.
I agree. I agree. Like, all right, we had a little bit of a technical hiccup there. It happens.
It happens.
It is what it is. But I mean, oh, the world is coming to an end outside. Anyways, but bottom line is don't take away XP from your table. That is shitty as fuck. And to your player, I understand and appreciate the sacrifice, pero like, I
No.
mean, there's still always something to learn from every session. So even if you're not getting the most amount of XP, you're still getting recognition for the job well done. You still invested hours of your time.
Yes, you still showed up and tried. It's not like you're
Exactly.
purposely trying to be an asshole. So if you're not
Exactly.
purposely trying to be an asshole, then you can ask for XP.
There you go. There you go.
Here's another one that
Yeah.
this one made me go crazy. Like I read this
Oh.
and I was like, "Nope." Okay, so the name's hidden. The poster on the subreddit is Lord Hayati. She says, I'm playing a female character. The DM had an NPC hit on me. I made it clear that my character was not interested on multiple occasions. I missed the session and was told my character slept with that NPC and will have to make a check to see if she's pregnant. I'm furious. I asked if he was serious and he said yes. I told him it was wrong for him to do that to someone's character. He said something about alcohol being involved and left. I'm planning to quit the campaign. What would you do?
Quit. Quit.
Quit and block them. Like
Quit
what the
and
fuck?
block them. I'm sorry, but if they cannot respect your boundaries within game, is this a person that you want to be like
Playing with?
playing with, to be not related to, but to be associated with? Is this a person that you want around you? I feel like that is just, it might sound, it might sound like an exaggeration to some people. On like, I can hear some people already being like, but what is the problem? There is a problem. There's a huge problem.
There's the thing, like the main thing besides boundaries, which is what Cristina said, which is the main problem. It's character wise, you've stated that you're not interested. So first of all, the DM doesn't hold the character, the player does.
Mm-hmm.
You're not God. Like, let's be
Mm-hmm.
clear. As a DM, you're not God, you're playing the dungeon master. What are you doing? But player doesn't show up. At best, leave them at the tavern or have them right click follow and leave it alone.
That part. That part. You do, and
Like,
it's happened in campaigns with us before that a player cannot make it to the session, and it's either like they either ask if somebody can play for them if they are if they are like plot relevant to what's been done at that moment, or the DM, the party requests, hey, would you be comfortable with us playing your character because it is relevant to the plot? And it's been only in moments and cases when the missing player has been relevant to the plot. If it's
correct.
not necessary, why the fuck are you messing with the character?
The most that I do when a player doesn't come is I inform them and ask, I'm like, do you mind if you get kidnapped? Which is an easy one. It's like an easy out as to why the player is suddenly missing. But lately, and I think a lot of people are going to say that this breaks immersion, and I honestly don't care. Lately, what I do is they're just not there. Like, but where are they? It doesn't matter. Like, it is an out of game situation that prevented this. Why can we all, if we're playing pretend, we can pretend that it doesn't matter. No, but the immersion, you can see past it. I'm sure this is something that you need to discuss in session 0, specifically, because let's say you're underground in an underground cavern with 1,000 spiders and there's no way the person can vanish. Yes, they can. We're playing a game. The player couldn't make it because he had an emergency. Why am I going to penalize the players or the guy that didn't come or whoever? Just, hey, they're there, but they're not. I won't.
They have been assimilated by the shadows, and eventually, oh, not anymore. Like
that, it's that easy. So yeah, I've never understood this attitude of trying to punish someone just because they didn't arrive. That's crazy.
That is really abusive. Like truly, it's just, and it might sound like it's not. And Cristina, you're exaggerating. I'm really not. Like in a situation where you're playing, like you're putting yourself as a player in a situation where you are trusting the people that you're playing with, whether it is in person and the table that you're at is crossing boundaries with you, or like if they are your friends, they are the people that you choose to spend several hours of your week with, you have entrusted these people with characteristics of yourself, and vice versa. Then if these people cross a boundary with you in any capacity, you have the choice to speak up. You have the choice to remove yourself from the situation, depending on the magnitude of what's happened. And honestly, that whole thing, like that is just, it's messy. It makes for just the feeling that I can never not be there if something huge is happening in my life. If I am having a mental health day, I cannot take these days off because I don't know what's going to happen to my character. Bro, it's fictional.
It's absurd. We're all supposed to be having fun. Like I can't. That one in particular, when I read it, I was like, I need to save this and then like honestly be like, top 10 worst things. This is easily yeah, like it's up there.
It's up there.
Never, ever, ever could I imagine myself like, and then your character develops some sort of sexual anything. What are you talking about?
No,
it's not my character. It makes me mad. And I wasn't even there. Okay, are you ready for something that's gonna blow your socks off?
Oh fuck! I'm not wearing any. Yes.
This is like a text bubble. So, let's go. DM says, "Hey, now, do you need any help making your character?" Smiley face. Player says, "I've never done it, so probably." Well, no, I have once. DM, well, would you like some help with that in a bit? I've done it a lot and I like doing it. Player, but the people who helped me then try to lure me into a threesome, so I deleted the memory of how to do it. Is there a good easy guide I could give it a go? DM, oh, that's really unnerving. Player, the perils of being a first year trying to join D&D campaign. The DM, is it? Player, I assume all my experiences are universal.
Um. Uh.
Help me,
Just,
help me.
not every table is for everybody.
But not like that.
But never like that. Never like that. What? They
Oh,
try to lure me into a threesome, so I blocked
hey,
the memory.
hey, Cristina, do you want help making this fighter? That way I can have sex with you and rap.
I'm
What
good.
is happening? Like, what? How do you get there? By the way, we're really good friends and she knows it's a joke. So, like,
It's
But
absolutely a joke. It's we're good. But
what?
like what?
What? Like, honestly, I read the first thing, I have to be honest, the first time I read that, I was like, this isn't real. Like, this cannot be a real
It
thing.
absolutely is real.
And
It
then
absolutely is real.
yes, and then I came to the conclusion that honestly it is real. The world's shit and people are shit. And
My goodness.
I told you some of these were really wild.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, as a as a woman, have I found myself in the most ludicrous situations where I have been asked for the weirdest? Yes, like I know that this is real because it's so out there that this would this absolutely tracks. This
Like,
absolutely tracks. And
yeah,
it's horrifying. It's
horrifying.
horrifying.
18-year-old girl,
No.
like she's 18 because she said she's a
She's
first year freshman, right? She said she's
18.
a first, so she's an 18-year-old, like bright-eyed, gonna conquer the world, gonna have some fun, play some D&D. Fucking stupid
When
DMs,
did
like,
you last try? When did
like,
you last try to join a D&D campaign and you're 18 and this happened to you?
I hate it. I hate it so much. Like, I hate.
Oh,
So that,
wow.
so that's nice.
Please make it stop. Next one.
Next one, yeah, it's like this one's too much. Um, okay, let's see. Okay, this is a little bit long, and this is a review on a store. I'm gonna read a little bit of the review and then the response from the owner. The review on Google says, tonight I came to Adventuring Games expecting to play D&D. It was my third time joining a group of individuals I had come to like, and I always enjoyed our sessions. I chose to leave shortly after arriving, however, as the owner decided to shout at us and act as a child in front of the whole establishment about a conversation we had last week that he deemed inappropriate, making more than one patron feel quite uncomfortable, I am sure. He was gouged and didn't care to hear. I am super sure. I didn't care to hear our side of the story, even though some of the group has been playing there for years without incident, and now they are no longer welcome. If that is the power of a review, then I hope this one stings, because neither I nor my friends will be frequenting your place of business any longer.
Of
So
course you
that's the
won't. You're
review.
banned.
Yeah, that's the review. He's banned. Clearly. Like, I when I read that, I was like, like,
What did you do?
what
What
did you
did
do?
you do?
This is what he did. The owner answers. He says, you are correct. We did deem the conversation your D&D group had last week about beating up women, getting around strict no touch rules so that you could assault those women as inappropriate. We have a strict no tolerance policy about such matters, and both players who engaged in the conversation admitted they were in the wrong. Their actions were a clear violation of our store's code of conduct and the rules set forth by Blizzards of the Coast, so there are no need for us to hear anyone's else side of the story. I'm sorry that your reaction made you uncomfortable. Maybe you can begin to understand how the 13-year-old girl and her father felt when they were put in such an uncomfortable situation. They got up and left in the middle of the session. We have continued to have problems with the group for several. We have continued to have problems with this group for several years, which I am guessing they forgot to mention to you. However, those problems pale in comparison to the horrible things that were said by not only the players in the group, but by the DM who is supposed to be leading the group and being responsible for the session. Since we work very hard to make our space one where everyone, especially women, feels safe and welcome, we'll feel it's everyone's best interest that you and your friends do not return to our store.
Yes.
Yes.
Good on that store. Exactly.
Yes.
Bring the police. Bring the police.
Yes.
I can hear the
Yes.
alarm. Just bring them. Like, are you fucking kidding me? How dare they? The OG poster, like the reviewer. How fucking dare they? People's audacity, it's baffling. Just fucking baffling.
I honestly, that one, I read the thing and I was like, what got you kicked out?
13-year-old and her father, like
we've always talked about session zero logic, right? Like when you're a bunch of adults, you talk about like, these are the boundaries that we set. When you have a minor playing with you, you don't talk about it. Those boundaries are set.
Correct.
Period. You don't do abuse. You don't do strippers. Or I am a very like my games are very adult oriented. I'm very well aware of that. And that is why I do not play with children. I have a player who asked me like, hey, can my child play? I'm gonna go with 14, 13, whatever. He's a teenager. And it made me very uncomfortable. And I was like, I would rather not, because I would have to change the entire way I DM. And the thing is, I can DM for children and I can tell you this great little story about whatever and make it child appropriate. It doesn't even it doesn't even register in my mind that you would not do that if you had a minor at your table. Like, what are we even talking about?
It's just I feel so bad for that girl, for that dad who was trying to like get their child involved with something that they could potentially enjoy, and now they have experienced trauma again, like abuse
that nobody asked for.
That nobody asked for.
Because
let's be fucking real.
Fuck?
During a fucking game, I feel bad for the girl. I feel bad for the dad. I feel bad for the business owner having to deal with this fucking group.
I feel bad for you for knowing this story. I feel bad for me for reading. I feel bad for listeners for like, what the fuck, you know?
Like,
there is no such. There's nothing in this world where makes the actions of those players and DMs like according. As soon as you have a child, you are no longer at the strip club. You are now at the park. Like, you know, you just change the setting. That's just what's gonna happen when you're playing with minors. Like, and here there's a store that runs games that I've considered like offering my services there, but I always run to this. I don't like, it's not my favorite thing to run like PG games. It's not. So that's why I have never gone and offered my services, because I know what I like to DM. So I don't even want to put myself in a situation.
Yeah, you understand that by putting yourself in that situation, you are allowing external factors that you don't particularly like to mix with your DMing styles to be incorporated, regardless of your preference. Like you would be putting yourself in a situation where you have to acclimate yourself and like just be okay with the fact that you cannot be as selective with whom your players end up being in a situation like that.
Correct.
It's I hate it.
It's wild. I hate it.
I fucking hate it so
much. I'm laughing because I don't know what else to do, you know? Like, it's just like of information that is just awful. And I'm gonna finish off with, I have a bunch more. We can do another episode of this because this is pretty crazy. But I have one more that I want to include. It's a little bit long, so I'm gonna, rather than read it all out, I'm gonna summarize it. It's by F. Punk Dam. And he basically starts with, I recently told the story to my game group and I made me realize I should probably post it here. He says, we're running an Exalted Games for those of you that don't know, we play Mythic Demigods in an ancient world. It should be noted that the DM is, as a player, frequently likes to include female characters in that type of way. So for no reason, this player decides to make a gay character, and he included in his backstory. It wasn't relevant because it's a heavy combat focused and light on the RP, so it doesn't really matter. But he still wanted to try something different, and good for him.
Okay. Sure.
At one point, they encounter a Fey illusion master, and part of the NPC's initial attempts to flatter, seduce, manipulate the players was to create a whole harem of illusionary super hot women to act like honeypots, because that's what the dungeon master liked to do. The DM then asked the players to resist the efforts, and the player asked if it was magical inducing, or if it was just a regular, like, what am I resisting to? It's a valid question. This is just seduction. DM said doesn't matter, so I asked if I should roll at all. I figured maybe this was a neat way to get advantage over the situation, seeing how I'm gay. The GM clearly didn't remember this aspect of my character, or maybe he didn't even read the backstory to begin with, because he asked for an explanation, and he said, well, this NPC might not know, unless they've been spying on us, that he's gay. What I generally expected was for the GM to retcon and say that the Fae conjured both male and female illusions. After all, they were magical creations, and that's an easy solution to the problem. Instead, the GM lost his shit. The same guy threw a tantrum about players playing characters who didn't share their own sexual preferences. He didn't outright say he couldn't handle a gay character, just said, I wasn't gay, I shouldn't play one. Of course, 100% of his female characters were lesbians. I objected on the grounds that it was, total bullshit. And he just canceled the whole game. I hate dungeon masters.
Like this, these things are wild. We're definitely doing a second episode of this because that's fucking wild.
We're role playing. I'm not an elf. You know, like, I'm a fucking human. I'm just like 6'3" overweight white guy. Like, I'm not a fucking dwarven stout wielding hammer.
I'm a short queen, but I'm not a dwarf. You know,
like, what are we even talking about?
I am not a halfling.
If someone wants to play, currently I have someone running an asexual character, and he's not asexual. Good for him. He's trying something new.
Yeah.
Like, you can't play what you're sexual. What are you talking about, Steve?
So under that logic, like based on that logic, the dungeon master, that guy, cannot have any female NPCs.
Ever.
I am so mad. Listen, Christina's is about to go on a little rant here and we're about to wrap up the episode, but I'm going to, because those same people, those same kind of players, not players, dungeon masters, but I mean, a dungeon master is still playing the game regardless. Yes, are the same kind of people who yell shit on Call of Duty and tell women, oh, go back to the fucking kitchen, make me a sandwich. You sound like a fat bitch. It's like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Just like, no more than that. Just shut the fuck up.
There isn't even like a further argument to be made, because this is just basic, like, you can't be gay because you're not. Why and then the people who say that it's political, sexual orientation is not political. It's
no, it's not.
People are gay, Steve. Like,
God damn it, Steve.
Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap up in a super fast way. I've sent you an image of what seems to be a radiant beacon of energy coming out of an armored dragon-like beast it roars towards you on his four legs, and the light it shines is pure, and it almost makes a noise that comes from it. What is it?
I would say a fire elemental, but it does look like a dragon, and it has like a little chest of sorts on its little claw at the front, and a little like gem on his, so is he like an animated like Drake?
He is a hollow dragon.
Oh,
Because basically, and I love this monster, like unlike dragons that explore the magic for power, some metallic dragons, once they've reached like their elder years, they basically, if they're guarding something and they have like a life purpose, rather than die, they become these creatures who are
okay.
still going to protect the magical item or whatever for
Okay.
during their entire on life. If you kill them or not, they'll come back until they fulfill the purpose of guarding this item, which is why that you see that chest that it's holding. And I just
Oh,
really,
with
yeah, and they're
forever with my
made,
horde.
yeah, forever with my horde, but with like a purpose. It's not just like my
Right,
horde,
right,
it's
right,
like
right, right,
they're
right, right.
guarding something.
Right.
And what I really like is that it's not fire, it's radiant energy that comes from them, because they're like, ooh.
Ooh. Ooh, I
Yeah, so I thought
love
that was
that.
important. I want to include like 7 of them now. They're fantastic,
Always, always.
always.
All
But
right. Well, this
yes,
was fun, but we are running out of time.
yes.
So we are going to go ahead and say thank you, everybody, for listening. Watch us on YouTube. Go check us out. We go check out our YouTube channel. What's the name of our YouTube channel?
At
Is
Owlbear Pod.
that for YouTube? Sure.
Mhm.
All right, at Owlbear Pod for YouTube and for Instagram, at Owlbear Pod 1 for Twitter. Where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Joe Harrell. Yeah.
That okay, sure, good for you. You can find me on Instagram and Twitch as Crispa Contreras and on TikTok and Twitter as Crispa120. Thank you again, everybody, and we are gonna go now. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I absolutely forgot to
Run,
do what I was doing. Bye.
run, run. We're running.